Oh, look at that. I vividly remember like one of my favorite barrels I ever had, and that was like 40 years ago. I can't even remember what I did yesterday. It was down in Baja, Malibu. It was me and two of my friends out. It was a pretty decent sized day. I just remember the first two waves coming in and each of my friends grabbed one and I'm out alone. If you're familiar with Baja, Malibu, there's these rock formations out there. The tide must have been low and I could see these things and it kind of had this eerie feeling to it, and it was overcast and it was blowing, the wind was blowing hard offshore, but it was cold. And then this wave came. The whole horizon jumped up and I was like, oh my God, I'm the one out here. This is my wave. And I remember it seemed to get bigger and bigger as it was heading to me. So as I spun around to get it, I'm digging, no way. Like the whole bottom is dropping up. I don't know where these rocks are. I'm gonna back off. And last minute, my buddy Jason's paddling out and he's like, go, 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 go. And so, all right, I'm going. And I remember the drop was like a free fall because I had waited. I didn't charge it right away. Free fall down, bottom turn came in, and if you surf, you know the feeling. You just see this wall lining up and time just stands still. And it's like this slow motion, it gets quiet. And I remember lifting my arm up and I could feel the water touching my fingers. And as of today, I can still feel that on my fingertips. I can still feel that water. It was so smooth, like a marble ceiling. I was rubbing my hands along. I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't hear the wave. I couldn't hear my friends. And all of a sudden, I snapped out of it because my buddy was on the shoulder of the wave, hooting as loud as he could, yeah! And I'm just calm. And all of a sudden, I just felt this whoom, this pelting, like snap, wham! And it's a spit coming out of the wave. It just stops. And you're just in this cylinder of water. Anyway, riding barrels is amazing, and maybe that's why barrels are my favorite thing to film these days. Which brings me to this day in Newport Beach. Absolutely an amazing morning. I remember getting up super early that day and arriving at the beach. It was golden. It was just one of those California mornings. It should have been my first clue that it was going to be a really good day. Immediately upon seeing these first waves, I set up probably the quickest I've ever set up my tripod. And at first, I'm watching these barrels come through and these guys getting these insane waves. And I'm thinking, well, it's gonna change. But they just kept coming and kept coming. It wasn't huge, but the shape was machine groomed, like God was kissing that little section of Southern California. Wave after wave seemed to be a makeable barrel, or maybe it was just so much talent in the water this morning that everybody was making them. I don't know, but however you look at it, this day topped any other day I've ever filmed of in and out barrels all morning long. These surfers were absolutely stoked. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm Brad Jacobson, and I'll see you on the sand.